Hello, this is Reverend Dore Patlian teaching the science of mind, philosophy, faith, and way of life. What's really original Christianity before Paul? From Sarasota, Florida. Today, let's talk about unmasking the devil. I'm going to call this one The Devil Unmasked. Most of us know the story of the Wizard of Oz, either from the classic movie or many a night spent reading the book to our children. Oz was a fearsome power that terrorized all the inhabitants of the magic land of Oz, but when finally unmasked by Dorothy, proved to be a fake, just a little man behind a lot of smoke and mirrors. That's how I see the evil power we call the devil. Fearsome, powerful, evil appearing, but in reality a make-believe boogeyman made up to scare children and the ancients. He lives in our minds and imaginations and in ancient tales, but has never existed and never will exist. He never has had any power over us that we did not first give him, because there's only one power and presence in the universe, and that's God. The proof of God is all around you. Look at the blue sky. Look at the planet we live on. Look at the billions of stars. Look at the galaxy that we can see on a clear night. That was made by an intelligence, by a power. You can call it God. You can call it spirit. You can call it divine mind. You can call it the ground of being. You can call it your higher power. Or you can call it Fred. It doesn't matter. God's as good a nickname as any. But there is a great mind or soul. There is a creative force somewhere, and even if it's in another dimension. You see, faith is really the key to life, and fear is simply faith expressed negatively. It's the negative side of love. Our fear of the devil and his punishment gives him life and power. The more we fear him, the more power he has. A little bit like voodoo from Haiti and Africa. If you don't believe in it, really can't hurt you. Our disbelief erases him from reality and removes all trace of his power. You see, no one can prove a negative, and the devil is a negative. Therefore, it doesn't exist except in our minds. A negative is simply the absence of the positive. Darkness is merely the absence of light, and cannot be created except by extinguishing or covering light. You can't make darkness. You cannot create it except by covering up the light. You cannot manufacture darkness. You can only turn out the light in your living room or in your life. Now, you can sit and watch the sunset every evening, but you know and I know that the sun does not really die or go out. It simply fades from your view as the earth spins on its axis. And as you're watching it, the folks in Australia are watching a sunrise. So it is with evil and its personification, Satan, Lucifer, the devil, old Patch, whatever you want to call it. It is the absence of good, and good is God. We can see the work of God all around us. That's a positive. That we can prove. We can prove there's a creative force because we see the blue sky, the perfect cocktail of air to breathe, the marvel of DNA, the love in our hearts, the good land that grows our food, and the presence of our animal friends that provide companionship, love, transportation, warmth from their fur, and often food. Even the events we consider disasters are vital parts of the operation of our planet when seen from an ecological perspective. What would happen, do you suppose, without earthquakes or volcanic eruptions? Why, our planet would have long since blown itself to smithereens from the pressure of the molten core of magma and the grinding and buckling of the tectonic plates that make up the Earth's crust. The eruptions and the earthquakes are like safety valves. These disasters are really just the pressure relief valves of our planetary ecology. You know, here in Florida, we know a lot about destructive storms. We live in a hurricane belt, and violent storms are a way of life in Florida most years. But without them, what would moderate and relieve the atmospheric pressure? The alternative might be a planet devoid of atmosphere and therefore life. Somehow it never occurs to us that these natural phenomena are engineered into the planet by the divine mind in order to maintain the delicate balance necessary for life to exist on this spinning orb. Nothing happens by accident, ladies and gentlemen. It's all order seen as chaos by our unknowing eyes. We create boogeymen to explain what our knowledge or intellect cannot yet explain. The ancient Greeks used to think that Apollo drove the chariot of the sun across the sky. That's where that myth in the Bible about Joshua getting God to stop the sun in the sky came from. The Jews were next door neighbors to the Greeks right across the Mediterranean, and they knew well the legend of Apollo driving the sun across the sky, so they just told Apollo to stop. Everyone in the Greek-speaking world, which was the entire eastern Mediterranean, believed this to be literal fact. It wasn't a myth to them. Do you suppose anyone believes this today? We used to be absolutely sure that the world was flat. A few thousand very strange people still do, but is there anyone you know that seriously believes that the earth is a cube or a square and we're going to sail off the end? What changed? Well, we learned the truth. We learned the facts. We've been in space. We've seen the blue ball of the earth. The sun does not stop in the sky for Joshua or anyone else. Stars do not meander across the sky and stop to point the way to baby Jesus either. Virgins don't conceive children, and Adam and Eve is a fable. Does this mean there is no divine mind, no universal intelligence, no great architect of the universe? If the evidence of his or her existence was not all around us, being a rational person, I might believe that God was a fable as well. But the universe is far too orderly, and it's too well engineered to be a random accident. A great mind beyond our comprehension is obviously behind all creation. What that looks like, or whether it has corporeal form, we may all soon know on the moment of our death, but until then we can only speculate. And hear this: no living human knows the absolute truth of this matter, including me. I know God, and I feel him in my heart, and I conceive him in my mind, so he's true for me. I know that from nothing comes nothing. There is a creative force in the universe. There has to be, because nothing produces nothing. And God is as good a nickname for that force as any. About the devil, it's all smoke and mirrors, my friends. The real deceiver, the real tormentor, is our own fear run amok. There's your evil. The anger, hurt, and bitterness that flows from fear is the cause of what we call evil, not an evil being on high. We use that evil being to excuse our responsibility and what we create here on earth. We have met the enemy, and it is us. Until we're together again, and my voice gets better because I'm just getting over a cold. Peace, joy, plenty, and love beyond measure to you and yours. Listen to the voice within, because that's God placing a call to you. This is Reverend Dore saying, until we are together again, bye-bye for now.